Face the final frontier.
All right, folks, it is time. It is the video for our announcement of the team's tournament for the rankings for it to get everything set of how it will all shape and fall. So with that, I have, of course, joining me. You know him as one of the new factors here in TV, helping behind the scenes. He is Mr. Carefree, Richard Schwartz.
Hello.
And, of course, you know him as burning himself on a cigarette. Joe, but with a nicotine problem. Joe, Richard, how are we doing tonight?
Doing good.
All right, well, how this is going to go, we've had 10 teams sign up for this. So to be fair for it all, with as many teams we had sign up, the 7th and 8th spot are going to be playing matches to see who gets those spots for the official tournament to give every team a fair shot. And of course, you know, Joe here, he has some stake in this, teaming with Mike Bryant. And we'll see how this goes. But I have a wheel I made directly for this, which this isn't going to be edited, folks, so you get to see the magic of this. Okay. But this is the wheel we're going to use for it. All of our teams are on here. We have Koho and Boatman. You know, maybe their team name can be Casey and JoJo. Who knows? That would be fun. Team 2319 with Cody Newberry and Brzakala, bringing it over to TV. Arrowverse champions, Zadius and Eli. They haven't teamed for a while, but you know, Eli, a former Fandom teams champion or a Fandom singles champion, and Zadius, of course, a Fandom or a TV singles champion in his own right. We have Hollywood Video with Rosario and Ike. I really wish it was Blockbuster guys, but we're stuck with Hollywood Video. So we'll see what Hollywood Video knows of TV. That's not on movies. So we'll see. Two chill dudes, Joe and Mike. You're sticking with that name, Joe?
Yeah.
Mike, if you're watching, there is time, as I said, to switch partners. Before I spin the wheel, just get that into me real quick. Don't worry about. I'll tell Joe out here in public. Richard, I forgot you were in it. I forgot you were teaming with Chris Diaz. I don't know if you guys have a name yet.
Not yet. We're still trying to work on it. You know, we don't want to lame one like Two Chill Dude, so we're trying to make sure our name's correct.
Crazy X frenemies? I don't know. And, of course, Hitman Industries, Alec Miller, who Richard will be facing later in singles to get closer to the title, and his partner, Hunter. So that's going to be an interesting combo. Nico Suave Rigoli and Joe Fairley, because it was going to be Jacoby Bancroft, but that had to be taken away from me by people who shall rename Christian Harloff. And next team, Brooklyn Vail with a question mark. Brooklyn Vail has a surprise team partner he wants to wait to reveal, so we'll see how that goes. And, of course, I don't think you should do this, but I've just learned from experience you don't mix romance in the workplace. It's going to be Kane and his girlfriend, Carrie, who we'll see Carrie, of course, debut in singles. But we'll see how that goes, folks.
I will say for the Jacoby Bancroft, you can't blame it all on Christian. Jacoby did audition.
I blame it on Harloff because he also took a chance from me, and that's two TV champions.
Oh, that is true.
I wanted to get my revenge on Jacoby Bancroft for my one loss, and now I can't do that. So I'm blaming him. Come at me, bro. I have nothing you can sue me for. Anyways, we'll spin the wheel. This first spin is going to be for the number 1 seed, so we'll see who gets it.
And it lands on opponent's choice.
No, it lands on Kane and Carrie. Kane and Carrie will have the first seed, so that's going to be interesting to see how that duo does. For what we hear from Kane, Carrie is very, very TV oriented. So, guys, what do you think of this team dynamic?
I mean, I know Kane. I just don't know his girlfriend. Kane's a really good opponent. If his girlfriend's as good as Kane, it's going to be a tough team.
Yeah, Joe.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen Kane play. I'm excited to see Kane step back into the ring. He's a really strong player, and his partner has yet to debut. So seeing what she brings to the table will be interesting. So potentially deadly combination right there.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's spin the wheel. You'll notice the pieces will disappear after each has been picked. That's how I set this wheel up, so we don't have to respin, make it a lot easier. So our second spin for the number 2 seed, the Arrowverse champions, Zadius and Eli. Ooh. Guys, what do you think on this one?
I mean, both Zadius and Eli, they definitely like their names. They both know the Arrowverse really well, and they'll probably use that as a strength or any comic book show. And if they get that, they're going to be deadly.
Yeah, 2 former champions teaming up. Could we see something like within the Schmodown founding fathers being a strong team, or they might not mesh well? We'll have to see. That's what's really interesting about this teams tournament is we've never had TV teams before, so this is all. So while teams have dynamics in other leagues, might be different in this arena.
I would like to think though, like if they don't get their categories, the Arrowverse, I would like to see how well they do on other shows. Like say if they got their opponents, because I only really seen them like answer their show strengths really well. I would like to see how they would do with the other strengths.
Yeah, Zadius has been very lucky with Vampire Diaries and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so it would be interesting to see how that plays out for him on the other foot. But let's go to see who gets our number 3 seed. Nico Suave Rigoli and Joe Fairley. Interesting choice. Nico with a partner change. Or Joe, I have not had too much interaction with him, maybe on one episode of featured presentation. Other than that, it's kind of a blank slate for me. I don't know if you guys have a better
I do know Joe Fairley when it comes to Inner Geekdom. He's deadly in the Inner Geekdom leagues. I don't know what he is in TV. If he's as good as he is in TV as he is in Geek, then this team's going to be a tough team to beat.
Yeah. Joe?
I know Joe has strong TV knowledge. He's really good at debating TV, so he definitely has knowledge of TV, and he can debate it very well. And I have been a team partner of Joe's in other leagues. He's a very strong competitor, and Rigol and Nico is also a very strong competitor. So it's a very interesting dynamic. I think they'll balance. I think the only issue could be they have very similar interests. So it might be so they might pick a lot of the so they might not have a good variety of shows. And I think we're going to see that with a lot of these teams that have signed up is they like a lot more geekier shows than just regular television. So we could see a lot of heavy geek influenced matches in this tournament.
Yeah.
Very true.
And I would like also to add also too, like Nico, when it comes to TV, he's very picky for his strength. So if it lands on maybe Joe's strength, Nico might be like just there sitting while Joe answers questions at times.
Yeah, like a positive reinforcement kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been that way. Just ask Jake Marangoni back in the old days. But we'll spin for our 4th seed. Ooh. Team 2319 with Tim Brzakala and, well, Cody Newberry's there. But, guys.
This is going to be a team just to watch. It's going to be entertaining to watch.
Because, I mean, honestly, we know Cody's disdain for TV in general. Tim enjoys it, but he doesn't want to upset his dictator of a manager, which, there's that.
I think win or lose, I think they're going to make the other team cry.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me, but we
Can't
don't know
confirm. whoever plays them in round one, rather win or lose, is going to win that match with Tears, and they're not going to be happy Tears, rather they win or not.
But in all seriousness, I mean, I know Tim when it comes to Geek, he's really good at his knowledge. I'm sure he would whatever category strengths he'll pick, they'll both be great.
Yeah, I know from his past TV match when he had to won, he knows his strengths. I don't know how well it'll play over for if he has that trouble with maybe landing on opponent's strengths. We'll have to see. But we'll just have to see how that dynamic goes with a lot of these teams, and especially this one. But let's go to number 5. Hitman Industries, Alec Miller and Hunter Chambliss. Well, I have my thoughts on it, but I'll let you guys go first.
Alec is a former champion, so I think he can definitely, if he sits down with Hunter and actually develops just hey, this is the game plan we have to do, like this is what you need to do in order to help me out, because I think this is going to be a team of a very strong A player and a definite support player, where Alec will, as something I've been taught in any team thing, is you have to, in each round, you have to be able to count on your partner for at least 1 point. So I think that's a dynamic we'll see here, is it's going to be Alec being kind of taking the lead on it, and Hunter being there to support him and kind of just help cushion a lead that Alec is creating for them.
I will say, well, Alec is a TV champion. He's going to be fine. And Hunter, unfortunately, has only been getting his opponent's strengths. He's just had bad luck on the wheel. If it comes to his shows, I think he'll be okay. I think he can do it.
There's some times where he's gotten his own shows, and that hasn't worked out, Richard. There are some times.
True, but you can say that to anyone. We've all had our down when it comes to our own strengths, and I think we're underestimating Hunter. Everyone underestimates Hunter, and I think that could actually come into Alec and Hunter's favor. Is people are going to think it's going to be a handicap match, and I don't necessarily believe. I believe that it's going to be a tough team to beat, even though it doesn't seem that way.
Yeah, that is a good point of where the underestimation of Hunter can work out in favor for this team. Of they're expecting a heavy hitter with Alec, but if Hunter adds into that a good support player, like what Joe was talking about, it could add in, and they could ride that all the way to the finals, to a championship. I mean, it could happen. We've seen that before, so we'll have to see how that goes. But we only have one more spin left for a guaranteed spot, so we have 5 teams left, so we'll see who gets that last spot. We still have both of you guys' teams still on here, so we'll see what happens. And the last guaranteed spot goes to 2 chill dudes, Joe and Mike, with the 6th seed. Richard, you've seen Joe play, you've seen Mike play both as I have. Joe, especially last year in that tournament, he had a really good run, a really strong performances, taking out a former champion such as Alec himself. And Mike is that good support player for him. Both of those, I wouldn't say there's one heavy hitter than the other. Both of these two work well together. They help each other study. They help each other prepare. And this I think this could be the strongest oiled group out of teams so far that we've seen for the teams chosen so far. That's just my opinion, but Richard, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, they're both really good competitors. When they get their strengths, they know their strengths. The only thing I could say against these two, Joe and Mike, is if they don't get their strengths, they could be in trouble.
Well, I think that's for everybody.
But that's the same for everybody, yes.
Yeah. And of course, Joe is here. But we'll go to the next one. No, Joe, go ahead. How do you feel? How do you feel with that?
Yeah, Mike and I have been excited for this. Mike and I were 2 big proponents, whispering, not whispering, pretty much shouting at you, just hey, even if it's a one-off thing, can we just do a team's TV match just to see if it would work and how that would be? And then you decided to do a tournament. Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, it's just we do help each other study. It's just creating study docs. We create study docs. It's just getting the chance to study. But yeah, we know we need to work. We know what we need to work on. We've been discussing it, like what we need to work on in terms of having a good teams run. We're not going to reveal what our discussions have been, but we have plans and we've been developing strategy for going forward in the teams tournament.
And I've seen a lot of Venmos to wheeldaside.com, so that should help in the long run. But we will see now the two teams that will play for the 7th seed. So here we go. Brooklyn Vail playing with a question mark, literally a question mark, but this one's kind of the big surprise of who his mysterious partner could be. I thought maybe it could be Sue, maybe it could be the one mouthpiece he had for that, who was going to play Jim Green, that one guy, remember, that came in and talked for him, that gave him the best talking that I've ever seen Brooklyn have. And, we never saw that again. But what are your guys' thoughts?
I mean, you got to watch out for those two question marks. It's going to be dangerous right there.
Yeah.
And Brooklyn's pretty good, too.
Oh, no, he
Brooklyn's
is
a strong competitor, and I know, and he has a good head on his shoulders, so I think whoever he picked to be his partner is someone who will complement him like that. I think Brooklyn's someone who can assess his weaknesses, and he picks someone who can help fill those gaps to where they can pick 3 strength shows where if Brooklyn's not comfortable with it, it's still like it's just like maybe the other team isn't, but his partner can cover that for him.
Yeah, like I said, we won't have to wait for long, I guess, but we'll definitely find out who that mysterious person is. And now we'll see who they're going to play. And it's going to be Richard Schwartz and Chris Diaz. So Chris Diaz can stop hounding me for when he gets his next match. So, Joe, I'll let you go first to talk about this team real quick before we let Richard blow his own ego.
I've seen Richard play. Richard, I believe, to this day still has the single points record for a match. Yep. So I think him and I are still tied for that. So I know Richard's a dangerous player, and Chris knows his stuff in TV. So I think it's going to be a strong pairing and a strong showing, and I think that if they're able to win, they're going to make a strong run in this tournament. Looking at the teams they have to play, the teams they would have to play on their side of the bracket based off the wins, I think there's not really a big roadblock for them. I think there are some challenges on that road, but I don't think there's a big necessary roadblock where if they're going to go up against that team that they're going to be hard stopped having to fight an uphill battle. I think they're going to be at level, or if not, they're going to either edge out their opponents or be right at that level with them for the entire run of the tournament.
Yeah, it's for both of them. I know Richard's strengths. I know Chris's strengths. I think there'll be a good balancing for him because they both do have different strengths as well as maybe a few similar. So that can really help in the long run of certain shows and certain things they would come across with their opponents that could really maybe if in round 2, one doesn't know the other one can fill that up to get to points. So it could be a real interesting dynamic. We'll have to see how that starts. But, of course, they'll be in the first play-in match for the number 7 seed. So, of course, the last 2, but we're going to spin the wheel and just talk about the teams anyways. We know who the last 2 teams are.
Oh, I don't get to say anything about my team?
Oh, yes. Go ahead, Richard. I forgot. I really forgot. Go ahead. It's been a long day.
The only thing I was going to say is I think the pros about me and Chris as a team is we have, I think, the most variety when it comes to TV shows. We can cover a lot of ground when it comes to shows. Not for necessarily our strengths, but other strengths. But our weaknesses is we don't have a lot of common strengths. So when it comes to when we're picking strengths, it's going to be one person be good, the other person not be as good. So that's going to be our only weak. Really, our major weakness is trying to find our combined strengths.
Yeah. But I think the two different ends of the spectrum would probably help a lot too. But we spun the wheel. Our next, of course, the last two teams that we're going to talk about in many ways. Hollywood Video with Rosario and Ike. We saw them come into Multiplex wanting to face Blockbuster Video. Unfortunately, they don't get to face them in this one, but they do get to face Koho and Boatman. So what do you guys think about Hollywood Video?
Is this Nazario and Mike or no? I don't know who this team. I don't know who this team is.
This is Rosario and Ike. Rosario and Ike. They work at a Hollywood Video in California somewhere. There's a guy named Dick too that comes in, but I think Dick is kind of just like
Are you being serious or like? Cause, like,
no, I'm being dead. I'm being dead serious. This is
Have you watched
Richard
in Multiplex Miscellaneous.
We've seen them come in. They really hate Blockbuster Video. They're kind of like too many Jim Greens if you watch the Miscellaneous, which Joe, I think you can confer with this.
They're mean. They're mean people. They're mean.
I mean, Richard, this is I'm not even joking. This is real. This is I don't know. They're kind of like, if you're a wrestling fan, they kind of play with the Freebird rule in Miscellaneous with a guy they found on the side of the road named Dick and gave a job to. I don't know who Dick is, but it's weird, Richard. This is real. And I don't know how they'll compete in TV. I have heard they're big fans of Cobra Kai, so that could be a play in strength. I don't know, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. But of course, the last team that there's no way it's not going to be picked. That'd be great if it wasn't. But Koho and Boatman. We've seen these guys play. We know how Boatman has lucked in with Community all the way to a title match, and Jacoby spanked him like a 5-year-old. But what are you guys' thoughts with Koho and Boatman? Manager and client now as teammates.
I was talking about how me and Chris were having a lot of variety. This team, Boatman is like from the 20s and 40s. He got those TV shows. Koho has whatever is like 2020. It's a great freaking team because I mean you definitely got a one person whose strengths people will not watch because it's like super old shows like the Andy Griffin Show or like Howdy Doody type of shows, and you have Koho when it comes to like the shows probably no one watches because it's like you have to be 13, 14 to watch. It's gonna be a great team, an interesting team, a team with a lot of character, if you will.
Yeah, Joe, what's your thoughts? You've faced Boatman before.
So have I.
Yes, you both faced Boatman before, but
Boatman is a strong competitor. So is Koho. That's going to be a team to watch. I just because I don't want the mean people of Hollywood Video to play me eventually. I don't want the mean people to play me. I would like them to win the play-in match because I don't want to play mean people. That scares me. I don't want my emotions to be hurt by Hollywood Video.
Well,
and they are.
Yeah, they are very mean people, but also too, for how this is set up so far, we have the number 1 seed, Kane and Carey. We'll face the winner out of Hollywood Video or Koho and Boatman. So I think that match is going to be entertaining for the 8 seed play-in, but also if Kane and Carey does live up to that hype that I've heard, they're gonna be strong on that side of the bracket. Plus, we have Joe and Mike in that side of the bracket, and Nico and the other Joe, I guess we'll say, to clarify the 2 Joes now that we have on TV. So it's gonna be a strong showing on that side. On the other side, we have Zadius and Eli. We have whoever Brooklyn and his question mark is going to be, and Chris Diaz. They'll play the Arrowverse champions in the official first round. And, of course, Cody and Tim will play Hitman Industries. So I think that one, out of all the matchups, I think the fourth and 5th seed matchup is going to be the most balanced, I honestly think. But what do you guys think so far with potential round one matchups? Like, I know you guys probably have your preferences since you're both in this, but
Well, I think the wheel was rigged because my video playing. How dare they? No, okay, no, it's gonna be interesting. I'm kind of happy to where even though in my playing match, I'm gonna say if we win, but it's once we win because I got to give myself that confidence. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, and I mean with this, I'm gonna say for the title matchup, I'm going to go with, for what I have seen so far of just trying to balance these, I think it's going to be, for what I've seen from experience, I think it's going to be two chill dudes on the one side facing either Zadius and Eli or probably Richard and Chris, honestly. But
way to cover your co-host.
You're goddamn right. I'm covering my ass on this. But I'm also looking at it as we don't know anything with Kane and Carey. I mean, Kane hasn't played for a while. Nico, we've seen play. He's going to play in a coming match against Joe's partner here. So we'll see how that ring rusts because they haven't played for a while, especially Nico. He has not played for a long while. But we'll see how that all faces off. And, you have to factor in with two former singles champions on teams. It matches up, with that experience. You have to factor that in. But I'm going to stick with that and see how it goes. I've been proven wrong before. But other than yourselves, what team –
I think, like I said, because these are all new teams, I think I would go with my two choices are Arrowverse champions or Kane and Carey based off of the hype that I've heard about them now. Those are my two choices. About 50-50 on either of them. I could see either of them winning.
And Richard?
Oh, this is gonna be tough, but I'm gonna go with Koho and Boatman versus the Arrowverse champions. Ooh. I think we're underestimating Koho and Boatman. I think their strengths are gonna confuse a lot of people, and we're assuming that in round two they're gonna. I mean, I'm gonna say very possibly one or multiple teams will get the other team's strength. So if that happens,
it really depends on the wheel.
And whether will their team study Boatman's strengths or Koho strengths, because they can pick the most out there strengths for their TV read.
Well, I think they're for what I've seen from that faction, out of all the factions that have really played in TV, theirs is kind of your most overlapped because there's a lot of community, there's a lot of West Wing, there's a lot of certain shows, plus Koho has his own experiences with Doctor Who and certain sci-fi genres that are kind of out there. And Boatman, as Richard said earlier, he's a child of the 1910s that grew up in the Dust Bowl, so he has a lot of those old black and white TV shows like
the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, the Andy Griffith Show, the Early Munsters, what have you. Maybe the Honeymooners, who the fuck knows. But we'll find out. And folks, that has been the team lineup. We've placed all the teams. We'll get the rooms set up. But for all of us, that has been Richard. That's been Joe. Joe has put out his cancer stick. He does not want any more death sticks. You do not need death sticks, Joe. Jesus Christ. But for all of us here, this has been TV Throwdown. We'll see you next time. Enjoy the matchups and get ready for the team tournament. Here we go.
Space, a final frontier.